Howdy doody, folks. How are we all? On a beautiful weekend. Too good to be doing a live stream. I can tell you that now. The weather's really nice outside. Only joking, guys. Only joking. I'm not joking about the weather. It is actually nice. So, quick hello to everybody. Lucky I made it in here today. Been having issues with internet again, or should I say still. We're getting on top of it slowly. But the other issue I've been having is the browsers have been acting up on both computers. I can pretty much forget looking at videos and doing a lot of internet stuff on the desktop. It's completely had it now. So, yeah, every time I open up the browser, look at the video, it just crashes. And doesn't matter which browser I use, they all doing the same. I'm suspecting there was a virus that's got into it, and it's just played havoc with everything, including the firewall. So, yeah, well, I'm doing the stream off the laptop as usual, but it looks like I'm going to have to be investing into a new desktop computer as a Christmas present for myself. So, oh well, life goes on. I'll just have I'll have a quick hello to everybody and look into this. The first chapter I see on my list here is Curly Dwight. Okay, I don't have any cookies, but I do have a bunny treat you can have. It's apple and cranberry, so you can have that as a prize for being first. Mystic, how are you? Nice to see you in here today, champ. I'm seeing one of your comments regarding red and yellow must be Australian train colours. In actual fact, it's Tuscan and Indian red was the original diesel colour here, Indian red and yellow. Just a bit of information for it. Then it went to Tuscan and red. Jim Tedesco, welcome on, my dear friend. Nice to see you here. Grandpa Rails, JD, hope you're doing well over there. Who else do I go? I'm just scrolling down the page. Adi, g'day, mate. Nice to see you in here too. Almar, nice to see you in here. Welcome. I'm getting there. I did see some other people down in the chat here. Wigwag, how are you, my dear friend? Nice to see you in here too. Lehigh River, how are you, champ? Nice to see you in here. Corey as well. Getting near the bottom. Gerard Stewart, how are you doing, my dear friend? Nice to see you in here as well. Rayron VR, Victorian Rail, I'm going to call that. I know you probably say virtual rail, but VR here, it stands for Victoria Rail. Used to be a nice railroad setup down in the south. Who else do we have? Split Rock. G'day, Thomas. How are you? Jean Ricard, nice to see you in here. David, how are you, mate? Nice to see you here. Good evening and morning, or good afternoon to you too. And I've caught up to everybody here now. I don't know where my sidekick is. Let me just have a look. I didn't have a chance to check my messages or see where he is. He's probably tied up. Oh, okay. Actually, I'm not at home. Not sure when I'll be at a quarter gauge train show. That'd be bloody right. He's gone to a train show without us. But hey, I'll just have to go solo, and hey, we can handle it. We can handle it. Rick. Did I see Rick in here? Where's Rick? Oh, Rick's Railroad. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you in here as well. Well, this week all I have done is just been doing some paperwork and paperwork planning on the layout. As some of the regular viewers will know, I use the train automation program to do my block detection and everything else. Mr. Payware. I just found it easier to work on that than JMRI. And what I've been doing is I've been just numbering all the turnouts, where the signal's going to be, where the block's going to be. So as I hook up the wires and whatnot, I can label the wires accordingly, just to make it easy down the track when I join everything up. So I've been working on that. I did start on the minifigures last night. You guys will see the progress of that later in the week. Apart from that, all I've been doing is doing medical appointments and also trying to sort out the desktop computer. But I've just given up on it. G'day, Randall. How are you, mate? Nice to see you in here. Trackside Mike, how are you? Nice to see you in here. Doing a middle of pre-inspection. All right. Well, make sure you don't miss anything. So go back and do another check with you, mate. We don't want to see you having a blowout in those conditions you guys got over there. Getting ready to go to Memphis. Okay, so his internet's going to go put. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to give up on the desktop. I do have one more folder I'm going to save up. I'm going to go and see the Chinaman in Wollongong. They'll probably, hopefully, be able to sort their issue out. It's not a bad desktop, but yeah, something just went strange on it ever since I've been to Goulburn and done the first video for Fun Day Friday then. And it's almost like it's been going through a slow death. Everything else is running fine. It's just that the, as I said, the window browser for Firefox is not working. When it works, I can fire it up, turn to a web page and it crashes. Go to Microsoft Edge, open up the YouTube. Yeah, the page does open up. Go to click on a video and it crashes. It closes. So, hang on a minute, guys. Sorry, just had to kill a spider. It was only a deadly long legs. He didn't read the memo. No spiders inside the house. They were only allowed out the window. Yeah, that's what will have to be. I haven't been able to find the drivers and USB stick for that computer. Oh, that just reminds me, there's two places still I've got to look at. It's probably in my old flight bag, so I might have a look at that. If I can find it, I could do it myself. Save myself a lot of witness, a lot of money. Yeah, he just got the better of me at the end. I did have some issues on here, but I managed to get on top of it. And what happened here on the desktop computer, I'm on Windows 10, and this computer is just over roughly about 12 months old, 18 months old. But Microsoft has been hounding me to upgrade to Windows 11. It's like, well, I just set this computer to run on Windows 10, and now I've got to change to that. And it's like, well, I know it's working. I'm not going to do it. As soon as I did that, things started playing up. So I don't know what the hell's going on. No, I just let it go, Corey. Yeah, I'll let the I'll feed to the ants outside later on. They need they're good followers, so I've got to, I've got to feed them. Check out the credits. Okay. Yes, I do, Dwight. I do that. I do that on a regular basis. I've done everything that you possibly can do. We did have in Australia, we did get hackers coming in, both from Russia and the UK, where they were actually hacking into even big companies, big corporate companies. Now, because my desktop computer used to be my company computer, I still got files there from my previous company, which I need to keep for 10 years with the tax laws. And then I thought, well, sorry, 7 years. I need to keep a hold of. I think they've noticed that. But because the anti spyware and everything else I've got in it, what it does is it will just block it. But if it gets persistent, it will just keep shutting things down as a safeguard. So I don't know. Then Randall's been to the auctions today, so he spent some money. Yeah, I'm going to do that, Jim, after. I'm going to do that after I get at least one computer up and running properly. I've got this going now. I've got this one going now, so I'm not going to touch any more on it. I'm going to leave it as it is until I get the desktop done, or build a new one. I might actually build a new one. It's time to upgrade. The desktop computer I've had now for 12 years. Clean the cookies. We're the first to get the cookies. Trackside Mike. He's got a bunny treat. That's all we got left. He's got a bunny treat at being first. So yeah, I would do another fresh reinstall after I get another computer up and running. I do intend to put my original plan was the desktop I got now. I'm going to clean it up and put some more ports in it and use it here on this layout. So I can run more cameras on it. It just got a faster processor. It would be ideal. Yeah, well, that one that I built, Jim, on desktop, that was built 12 years ago. So it goes to show you guys how often I change my computers. Not very often, but when my brother-in-law was still talking then, he was really active in doing computers. So we built it up in such a stage that it's going to be 5-6 years ahead of its time, sort of thing. Like it had everything in it, and we done it on a cheap. I might have to go and do the same thing. No, it's all right, Mike. You go for it. I mean, this is what we're all about. I mean, this is all to have fun in here. G'day, Jeff. How are you? So yeah, the layout. I spent big money this last week on your Thanksgiving. I bought a whole heap of more turnout motors and turnouts and tracks for the layout for expansion. So that should be here within the next week. I've got some wire as well. I've got ordered. That should arrive into this week. Oh, what did I do? Uh-oh. Oh, bloody. These connections are real. So what I've got a whole heap of, I've got a big roll of 9-core wire, which I use on my tortoise motors. I've given up buying it by the meter. The roll of this is about 200 feet long, 300 feet long. For the whole roll, it's going to cost me about $60. So I've got the whole roll. Matthew, hello, how are you? Yeah, you're new to our live stream. We had them down at the airport. They're not bad, but what I found with a lot of those mini computers, you still have to have a mainframe or a main computer to work off to have it working. How would I say, efficiently. I do other things on the computer, like I like doing simulator games on it. So it's time to upgrade. So I'll see what the prices are for new ones, or compare the price of building my own. So yeah, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up an invite. It's not a wacky. It's not a wacky weekend chat without having other guests up in here, especially since the co-host has gone out without telling me. I think that's going to. I don't know. It's hard to get good free help these days, isn't it? Another thing is also that's been going on. There's the invite, guys. Another thing that's been going on. A very good old dear friend of mine. His name is Bill Cox. Now, with the Australian modelers, if you know of him, say your prayers and good thoughts with him. He had a bad turn this week. He got, as far as I understand, he got a bad case of pneumonia, and it's been touch and go the last few weeks. I've been ready to go up to visit him, but I've been told don't do any plans for this for the moment. He's still in hospital. Now, Bill Cox, he's a master craftsman. He's a real master craftsman in modeling. And when was my first model railroad? I'll answer that in a minute, Mystic. It was a long time ago. Bill Cox is the guy that got me into scratch building, kit bashing, and he would do things the old school method where you'd hand carve items for detailing. For example, I don't know if you guys seen some of my passenger cars would actually have the toilets inside of it. Yeah, probably could have bought one, but it was actually him that actually taught me how to do a simple thing like that in hand carving. He was a member of the National Model Railway Association in Australia, in Sydney branch. He was well known about the circuit, and he entered a lot of competition, especially in October long weekend modelling competition. And to be honest, I'll give you an idea how good his modelling work is. If you knew he's putting something in there, we didn't have a chance in the world to beat him. That's how good of a model. That's how intricate his work is. So my thoughts and prayers are to him, Robin, who is looking after him, and I really hope he pulls through. He just had his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to you, Bill. I know Robin will probably be watching this on the side, so please wish him a happy birthday and a big happy birthday from all my gang here. And hopefully he'll get well soon. And yeah, I'll try to get up there as soon as I can. So enough of that bad news or sad news. So Mystic, my first layout. Well, I started messing around with scenery when I was at the age of, Christ, now you make me think. Oh, Mystic, you're a bastard. I think it was 10 or 11 years of age. I started working on that. Yeah, I think it was about 11. And my first attempt was on a 4x5. G'day, Les. How are you, champion? I'm not coming up. I'm not passing through this at the moment. So I'm not coming up at the moment because my trip is on hold. So I won't be coming through, Les. Not before Christmas, I don't think. So I'll let you know next when I'm heading up. Oh, you're not mentioning my first. Well, you asked me how long when was I first. So my first scenery was I was about 11, 12 years old when I started, and I started with chicken wire and paper mache. This was way before I learnt that I can use styrene and plaster. I really got seriously into it probably about 95, 96, I think. Around about that time is when I really got serious into the doing my own well, permanent layout at home, or maybe even sooner, but no, it was earlier than that. Would have been about 94 when I really started building my own layout in my room with a proper scenery in that. And this is now my 6th layout that I'm doing. But it's the first time I've actually gone double decked, 2 decks on it. If you guys watched the update that I had on this week, I've gone away from doing a hidden staging in here. It's just going to be too much. The problem is I can only have the tracks on the far side, and if something derails, it's going to be hard to reach. And I've got a slot cut out here, which is roughly about 4 inches. But to be able to reach through and have the whole arm go through the other side, it's not going to work. Hey, Bernard, how are you, buddy? His spanking day. He'd like that, mate. He'd like that. He'd like the comment, should I say. He'd like the comment. What I'm going to do underneath here, I'm going to enclose the top, right? So I won't be able to get the access to the far side. And I'm going to give it like a enclosed look with the sky above. How many years ago? So the genre card, I'm not going to count that far. It was over 40. It was over 40 years ago. Okay, there. I'm not going to count now. So I'm going to scrap that. But I am going to cut this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my electronic bits out to here. I'm still going to have a hidden staging roughly about where I'm sitting, or just behind where I'm sitting now. Well, at the moment, I have 1 through track with probably 2, 3 passing loops, or even a couple of storage tracks. And that will come. That'll come sometime after Christmas once all the bits and pieces arrive. What else? The other thing I've been looking at is I've been looking around at doing operation planning on the layout, and I did come across an old operations that the New South Wales Government Railways used to do up in Sydney. They did have an engine facility just outside of Central Station, or just near Redfern. But all the steam engines used to go, or the diesel used to go to Everleigh rail workshops to do all their maintenance, refueling, and everything else, which was outside of out in the suburbs. And what they'd done was they used to hook up all the engines together, when they arrived in Central, and they used to haul them out there, get them serviced, whatnot, turn them around, and like with the steam engine, they turn them around on the turntable and bring them back into Central. So that's what's pretty much operationally I'll be able to do here with my layout here. Like, I'm going to have the main station up here, and when the engines arrive, to have them turn around, they'll have to go all the way back down to the bottom layer to my engine facility, have them spun around, and then they go up. So I will be able to do, I'll be able to simulate a little bit of the old train operations that used to be in Central. In 90 foot, no, it's what is it, 110 foot, big enough to have the big boy in it, split rock. I did make sure I got the biggest one I can possibly get, so I can turn it wasn't just a big boy to turn around, it was also in case I bought a Garrett, or the which I did manage to find was the Allegheny. I can fit 2 diesels on it, double headers. I can spin them around if I need be. So the planning's come up pretty good, and I actually come up, I don't know if I'm allowed to show it on here, but I did actually find a video on YouTube. Let me see if I can bring up my list. Oh yeah, here it is. Just bear with me for a minute. I'll put the link up here. I don't know if I'm allowed to share the videos on here. 130 foot, that's it, Les? Yeah, 130 foot. Yeah, 130 foot. That's worth this big one that I got. That's the link from the operations they had in Central Station in Sydney, around Sydney. Well, I'm trying to. Thanks, Bernard. I'm trying to imitate some sort of operation we used to have in Sydney. With the diesel haul trains, we don't have diesel hauls in there anymore. Passenger trains, because all the commuter trains, they're electric and they've got controls on both sides. There used to be a lot of switching in Central Station. The only switching they do now is when the Union Pacific comes into town. When it originally came in, the engines used to just come to the platform, unhook, let the train unload, and engines will run around and go to its service facility. But now when the train arrives at Central Station, the Union Pacific from Perth, the first half drives pulls in. The engine don't even uncouple. They still remain coupled up for the time being. The second half gets split and gets put in the platform 2. And then they take on the Union Pacific, you got a car carrier on it, where, like a motor rail or whatever you want to call it, it gets taken off and taken to the ramp to unload the cars. The passengers' cars off the train. So that's the only operation they have now where it requires a lot of switching. G'day, Daryl. How are you, buddy? You're trying, yeah, you're starting trouble again, Mystic. Good on you. The only time they do switching in Central now, apart from the Union Pacific, is when they do the rail fan tours, the October long weekend, the June long weekend. I don't know if we're still going to have the June long weekend, since we used to celebrate the Queen's birthday in June. Now, since she passed away, I don't know if we're still going to have that holiday. Hopefully we do, because it's a 3-4 day event when we have the old steam engines. We get the old diesels in there, the old self-propelled passenger cars, or rail motors we call them. And then we have vintage buses that go around doing tours for a gold donation or whatnot through some of the old areas of Sydney. And it's a good day event. I don't know. I think I'll be all right. I will actually share so you guys can see what they used to do. And this is before the electrification started in before they had electrification come all the way down to this way. Well, there's some parts of the video where you see the electrification when they were still putting in a process. G'day, John. Just bear with me for a minute. Hang on. What did I do with it? Hang on. Just bear with me for a minute, guys. I'm still not expert at this. Here we go. I'm going to take this from to start. Oh, stop it, Artie. So this. So it just gives you a rundown. This starts in the 50s, and this is Central Station here. We had all the carriage sheds. Redfern Station. Now, I don't know, I'll just pause it here for a minute. I don't know if anyone's followed my Fun Day Friday shots. Where this shot's been taken, this engine here is going into Central. Now, all those carriages you see in the background, they're actually from, that's at the Redfern passenger car workshop. That's where they used to refurbish all the passenger cars in our fleet. Which is now obsolete because they're redoing that for TV shows or whatnot. Now this is the Newcastle Flyer coming out of Central. As you will notice, is on these two tracks here, they will take you into Central, but there's no overhead wires. Well, yet there is overhead. The stanchions there, but there's no overhead wires in place here yet. They were still coming. Now, if you have a look at this photo now, this used to be off a bridge, which has been taken down. But this, it doesn't look nothing like this anymore. Now, that building in the background there, that's where they used to build some of the steam engines and do the heavy maintenance on the steam trains in our fleet for this state. That building still exists. Only a third of it is still used by the railways. Now this one here is coming out of the through our tunnel system, and would have been one of the old trains from my line here. Newcastle Flyer again. And here you got it here. This is where all the steam engines are coming from, the steam facility. From Everleigh, and they're coming into Central Station for their passenger duties. So this is where it's going to show me that the rail operation I am going to be doing is going to be actually prototypical and unique by accident, really. Now, I'll pause again. As this video is showing here, down on the bottom there, you see the garret that's been built. But all that area down the bottom there now is parkland. That building there is gone. But in that alleyway there, that's all a public parkway. There's another train from the south coast coming from the Duck Under. Now, in the background, you can just see it. There's like a ramp that's going up over the top, or like on a trestle. They're actually coal bunkers. Some of the steam engines that used to go up in here to refuel, they used to get the coal from that from those bins. And those bins are very similar to what Split Rock has for his iron ore shit to unload. So the coal train will go up the top, dump the coal into the bins, and the coal trains would be down on the bottom. We didn't have coaling towers here like what they did in the US. The local freight. Now, the Newcastle Flyer was the first air conditioning service in this state. There's another one coming up from Wollongong. This one will come over from the other mountain or from the south. Now, this train would have come out from an area called Darling Harbour. This is the old Sydenham station. Darling Harbour now, there hasn't got any rail services in there. That looks like the Highland Express. You notice how quick we turn our steam engines around here. Now, this turntable is still in place. I'll just leave that there so I can get back to the chat. G'day, g'day, Anthony. Nice to see you pop in. So I wasn't looking at the chat, so I'm going to go back and to where I wifey's. Oh, you're in the bad books again. You're still in the bad books. Okay. So, as I said, I left the link there. G'day. So yeah, that's the old Sydney. That's what Sydney used to look like. A lot has changed now, Mystic. Split Rock. This is in Australia. This is just south of Sydney. The gauge and the operations is was very similar to what they used in the UK rail system. Yeah. We pretty much imitated what the English system went on to, and that's why we see a lot of our trains are at a modified height compared to the US. For example, like our 44, which is replicated off a A unit, shortened. And the only steam engine that would have fit in the system was the 59 class, which is the Mikado. And they imported that from the US, but the tender was actually built in that shed that you guys saw in the background. Yeah, as I said, have a look at I'll put that link up there again for that video. He's got a couple of good shots. He's got some good shots from when the first electric locomotives were actually used on the north side of Sydney, going into the Hawkesbury River, and to the Newcastle area. But they used the engines on the front, the electric engines, as banking engines. It's worth having a look. There are other good old shots. Stories that, yeah, I used to love listening to those old stories, Rick. I made a friend with another guy. Okay, he was named Bill too, and he used to run a lot of the coal trains from the Bulleye, one of the local mines here, and he used to tell me about the stories about when they had difficulties with making the grades when it were wet. They go up the grade just doesn't look much, but when you had a load of coal train, it would slip and stall, and they have to go all the way back down the bottom, start again. And the worst thing was they couldn't be on the main line too long because it was blocking the passenger service. But they were fun and running. So with me taking time and my planning of my layout to do the operations, mysteriously, I was thinking about doing multiple engines as a shuttle run between the rail service and the passenger station, backwards and forwards. With me thinking about that operation, I won't be prototypical, but I'm going to do it anyway. Going through the videos, I find out, yes, it has been done. So I can do it. It's going to make it interesting. It's going to make operations very, very interesting. A gem mine. Oh, that thing there you're talking about. Yeah, Jeff, that was floating around the tracks in Spartanburg and didn't have a name on it. So that was my souvenir, and it was outside the rail boundary, so it was mine. Um, um, I would have loved it. I wished I knew more about the Saluda grade when I was down that area in Spartanburg at Brenda's place, because the Saluda grade was about 45 minutes drive from her. No mistake, I didn't steal it. I resurrected it. I saved it. Um, G'day, Luna. How are you? Nice to see you here. Yeah, I don't go thieving, mate. It's not a 5 finger discount. Um, no, as I said, it was just floating there on the ground outside the railway property, so I was able to get it. Hey, Rick, how are you? Yeah, so oh boy, here's nightmare.
Happy Saturday night, everybody. Happy Sunday to you, Artie.
Yeah, happy Sunday. Bloody, I don't know. Are we allowed to drink alcohol during our streams to
I
quench
don't
our
know.
thirst?
Let me see who's. All right, there we go. Hello, everybody.
G'day, mate. How are you, Mister? Yeah, well, the nearest thing we have to here to Saluda Great is the Moss Vale line, and it's almost as steep as a Saluda Great. Well, then again, it is our steepest climb in the southern hemisphere. Um, there's been countless runaway trains coming down it and going up. That was a challenge. I know there's been a few diesels that were made that could not make it up that grade. They were just too light. They just couldn't get traction. Even with sand, they couldn't get traction. Um, but that was a challenge. But then they tried to send up one of these new commuter trains up there, and it was a dismal failure. They sent it up, it got stuck. Then they sent up our common 48 class switching engine up there to save it. It got stuck trying to push it out the way because it's the main freight line and it's right at the harvest season at the time. So it's holding up all the wheat trains. So that one was stuck. Then they sent another engine up there. It broke down. G'day, Ron. Eventually, what they'd done was they actually hooked it up the front of the freight train coming downhill and brought it back down the bottom of the hill. So we can say it was a dismal, embarrassing failure. Oh, no one can see my mug? Yeah, well, this is a left-handed mug. Um, it's basically the same as this one. So, yeah, I've got 2 cups of coffee here. I will get them. I am going to sort that out for my spring account. What's happened to your trains there, Daryl? Are you still alive there, Daryl? You're frozen.
What's that?
Must be cold. It must have been very cold in California.
It's a little
Oh, you
chilly.
just froze there.
It's not that bad.
Oh, you
It
just
was,
froze there for a moment. I thought it got really cold there
no,
where you are.
no. It's the temperature's quite nice. It actually rained yesterday a little bit, and it was chilly. Today was just hot. The wife and I were out shopping today, so
And you didn't buy her what she wanted,
yep,
and that's why you're in trouble.
that's right. Go figure. Bad
You
shredder. Bad shredder.
Uh, yeah, comment. Yeah.
Hey, Ian.
Oh, what's in it? It's only coffee, Sean Ricard. Um, I'm still only drinking coffee. I did have a drink last night while I was painting and painting the figures. I tell you what, those minifigure um mini prints figures, the detail on it is so fragile. The plastic's so fragile. Already breaking Heath. Well, I knocked his camera off the stick, so I've got to glue that back on. Um, well, yeah, I know, Mister. You say the salutagrator had the runoff. The runoff down here, when you used to come down the mountain, there used to be one at Dumbarton, but it was actually the setup at Dumbarton was a zigzag style of a passing loop, where they could store up to 3 trains. That was the first runoff. But if you miss that one, the next one was down here at the bottom at Unitary Station, and there are photos. One in particular, an Alco 45 class, which is a big diesel, jump in the creek. It was coming down the mountain that fast. The crew survived. Les will know about that one. He can vouch for me for it. The 42. Oh,
Thank you, Jim.
now this one here is true to the words, like with Les was saying about the two strokes, the 421 class and the 42 class, the EMDs. When they used to go up the mountain, don't worry about the steam engines. Look, from my old bedroom window, you can actually see the exhaust, the smoke from the exhaust going up the mountain from these diesel engines when they used to go up the grade. 4.7. Well, if it's 4.7, yeah, then it is steeper than ours. Our steepest point was 3.9 or just on 4%. Oh, plumber, g'day, buddy, you're here. Um, that was our steepest point, 3.9. Yeah, I think it was about 3.9%. Um, yeah, so what didn't you buy? You didn't buy a new diamond ring, or you didn't buy a new dress, or you didn't buy the new car you promised for Christmas, or what was it, Daryl?
We were actually shopping for new beds. Go figure. I told her, I don't care. I could sleep on the floor. I ain't paying that much money for a bed.
So I guess you're sleeping on the floor tonight.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
The
Hell, I
concrete
can
floor.
sleep. I can sleep underneath the train table with my dog Bear. Oh, we'll be fine.
Oh, the dog bear is going to say, "Bugger you! There's a free space in the bed. I'm going into bed. Bugger you, Dad."
Yeah, my dog, he ain't got fleas, so I'm good.
Get a sleep number bed.
Yeah, Split
Sleep
Rock. I
number.
we did look at those. It's just we just have different ideas of about sleeping. So I mean, I don't know. That was one of our, actually, believe it or not, that was one of our picks. Absolutely, the sleep numbers are really cool. But no,
It was her.
no, John, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't furniture for the train room.
It would have been the bar for the train room. Sure. It would have been the bar he wanted, but she wanted the bed. He wanted the bar, so it was like they couldn't come to a
Yeah,
compromise.
kind of something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've been shopping for the last week, and it's just there's just so much to look at. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll come to a decision.
Oh, yeah, eventually
So
one of you two will give in,
yeah,
and I can just see who's going to give in.
Yeah, we're just looking. Yeah, we're just looking for something solid because the bed we got sounds like the. I don't know how to explain that one, but it makes a lot of noise.
Okay, so how can we interpret that?
Yeah,
Overused mattress. They do tend to give way after a while, They only got
yeah.
the is it a spring mattress or a foam mattress that you
You
got
know,
now?
she asked me this evening, and I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. And then she goes, well, you can make us a bed, and we'll just buy everything else. And I'm like, oh no, not gonna do that. I could, I could make a nice bed, but um, I just don't even have enough time to even play in my tray room. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Lehigh, I got a friend of mine. He was living up in New York, and he's now
yeah,
transferred
Ian,
to.
pretty
He's now
much.
set. Yeah, he's transferred over to LA. He works for United. Great young bloke. Him and his wife end up buying a yacht at one of the marinas down there. I can't remember which one it is, and they bought a yacht as a house. So that would really go if the yacht's rocking. Don't go nowhere near it. Yeah,
Mystic. I'm sorry, Artie. In my young ages, yeah, I had a waterbed. Do they even have those? I would assume they would, but
yeah,
we did so much
yeah.
shopping, I didn't even see a waterbed. Dude,
They're not
that's like
common anymore.
that's like 1980s.
You can still get them. You can still get them. Apparently they changed the technology and that in them. You can still buy them. I could
Yeah.
not. I could not get comfortable in it. I really couldn't.
Look,
Um,
if I can sleep in Needles, California at the Colorado River, waking up at 4:30 in the morning and it's still 105 out, face down in the dirt, I could just about sleep on anything. That's no joke, man.
so can I, but
Sleeping at the river at a younger age at the Colorado River, that Needles area there, down by just north of Lake Havasu, that part of that river can get anywhere from 115 to 120, and I'll remember those weekends. I mean, at 120, 122 degrees. I mean, it's freaking hot, super hot.
yeah,
We would pull in Needles, California, like at 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, in a motorhome, and it's really nice and cool in there. You open up that door at the gas station, it's like a blast furnace. It's just at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's
yeah.
still like 105. It's crazy, but it is a beautiful part of the river. So it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous through there. The gorge is what they call it. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Well, that's what it's like up the top end, or up at our top end here. What we call the top end, like the Great Barrier Reef, and right up the top tip. I mean, you can rock up to a place like Darwin, for example, Cairns, Townsville. Like Cairns and Townsville is right at the top of the fringes of the Great Barrier Reef. And yeah, you can get there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, it's like, as you say, it's 100, 110, 120 degrees at night. You turn
Yeah.
on the tap water, and the cold tap water is just as hot as
Yeah. Yeah.
temperature outside.
Yeah.
Um,
So in the days when we were younger, in our teens and our early 20s, when we'd go to the river, we would not sleep in the tents. As a matter of fact, we only set up the tents just to change or whatever, but really we slept on the boats because from the beach to the water is almost like a 20-degree difference. And that made a huge difference in sleeping. Of course, after drinking quite a bit that night, you pass out where you pass out, doesn't really matter. But
yeah.
wow, we got really off topic. Everybody's talking about water beds and beds.
Well, actually, this is where this is. I know, but I'm in a waterbed. But this is a comment. This is where it made it uncomfortable for me, as Jean Ricard says here. If you have one person different to another, it just, I don't know,
Right.
it
Yeah.
just going like this all night
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds funny, but I tell you what,
But it's
it's not
true
fun.
because the water is displaced
Yeah,
no matter how
any
you look
slight
at it.
movement, any slight movement. I know I was a little bit heavier than my ex-partner at the time. If I would have jumped too hard into the bed,
Yeah.
she would have been flung out.
Yeah. And I remember they used to later on down the road, they used to put gel in them to solve that problem. But it's still, I mean, if you were the heavier person, the other one ends up next to you because you've got that water displacement.
Yeah, well, that's what they need. Well, that's what those waveless mattresses are now, Jim. They got actual baffles made inside to stop that waviness inside it.
Yeah, that
Um,
might be true, Corey. You might be 100% right.
yeah,
Yeah, no, you're probably right because, like I said, we looked at a lot. I didn't see anything in waterbed at all. I mean, you know,
yeah, yeah. But you got to remember, I mean, there is a lot of water in those water beds. They'll be equivalent to full bathtubs,
yeah.
three,
Well,
four
take
bathtubs.
a 400-gallon reef aquarium that's in my living room, and I can tell you, if I have a good earthquake, I mean, it has to be really strong earthquake to break that tank because it's pretty thick. Um,
Well,
and I worry about 400 gallons being on the floor with everything else. So I never
well,
really worried about the waterbed.
look at it this way. If a water bed for where you are, Daryl, that'd be ideal because you can ride out the earthquake
Yeah,
and
yeah,
absorb all the tremors.
yeah. They say we're due for one. It's been a while since we've had a doozy here in Southern California. So
Oh,
you
I'll tell
know,
you what, something's going on because, yeah, but look, was it last week, the week before, how many earthquakes were going on worldwide? There was about,
yeah,
yeah, it was last week.
yeah.
Four,
Look, here's
four earthquakes,
here's an
4 or 5.
interesting topic. Okay, I
Yeah.
bet a lot of you didn't know. See, I'm in the
Uh-oh.
shredding. I'm in the shredding industry. So we also shred newspaper. What little is there of it, or what I do pick up, not the document shred. But I bet a lot of you didn't know that when you are buried in a casket, you are buried in the paper that is shredded by my company. We're about the only company in the United States that actually shreds paper for most of the casket makers. And why they use shredded paper, because why? It's recyclable,
Yeah,
and it's very cheap to pack the liner of the caskets. So
yeah.
that's a pretty interesting fact.
Jeff, I've tried that. It was no good, honestly. It did not work. It was a total and utter dismal failure. But then again, she wasn't in the mood at the time either.
Right, Corey. Hey,
G'day,
Jonathan.
John. Too, how are you?
Yeah,
Um,
so it's very interesting. So we ship the casket paper to all over the world. I mean, all over the United States. Also, most of the puppy paper that you see, the white shredded paper, is supplied by us. So I don't know anybody usually on the Western Hemisphere. You'll see our paper in the doggy windows, especially in Las Vegas, Arizona, Utah. Actually, we have it in Florida, New York. Um, yeah, so the white shredded because nobody really does it anymore. So we're about the only manufacturers that make that white shredded paper for the puppies. We also pack the paper. We also have race horses, who actually are allergic to hay.
yeah.
And yeah, and I thought that was the weirdest thing, but we do a lot of bales here for where I am in California for Santa Anita racetrack. Um, all over the racetracks, all over our paper is shipped wherever these horses go because they have to be bedded in our paper. It's a very interesting small little business.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with shredded paper. There were certain types of paper. I mean, you can't use every single order. I mean, there are certain types of shredded paper that you can't use.
Yeah.
because even though it's shredded, the documentation and whatnot doesn't always shred out
Right.
properly, and you don't want that ending up in the wrong hands.
Right. Exactly.
Because
Now, our shredded paper, well, on my mom's side, the colored shredded paper. So whenever you go into Starbucks, when you walk into Starbucks, they'll have crates and barrels that you can pick stuff from to get gifts from. The craft paper that's in there, that is manufactured by us. So that
okay,
paper goes all over the world. Wherever Starbucks is, our paper is packed in that. Also, that kind of paper is packed with a lot of fruits, and it's a very interesting industry. So,
Thomas, you should have told me before I got rid of all my model railroader magazines.
well, Split Rock. We can do that special. I mean, you just got to put it down. Hey, my buddy Derail Daryl, he's gonna shred magazines, train magazines to line my casket with. I can do that for you, buddy.
Yeah, we can do that for it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how pedantic you guys are over there when it comes to recycling paper now. But
Yeah.
remember over here, that biggest problem is sorting out your plain paper with the glossy paper when
Yeah,
it comes
see,
to shredding.
on my side, the reason why okay, a lot of people have asked, "Hey, Daryl, shredding paper, and you have shred trucks." So, the reason why I do not do any videos of me on my shred truck or my guys is only because of what camera technology is so good today that you can actually probably catch a few letters or make what you want of it, and boom, lawsuit, and you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
Yeah,
this is the reason why I do not, Boxcar Jerry, he's always telling me, Daryl, you got to do a video, you got to do a video on shredding. Okay, if you can't do documentation, shred something else. I mean, yeah, but I wish I could do that, but it leads to what, dulling my blades, and those blades are very expensive. So that's the reason why I don't do any videos. I mean, I could do a video of me, with the bin and people putting paper in there, but I really can't show the paper coming out of the truck. It's a very, very unique thing. And Artie, I'm sure you know what these are. In my truck, when I'm ready to unload it, it doesn't have a dump to it. It'll hold 10,000 pounds, and what it does, it has a walking floor. So when I get wherever I go, I press a button and it slowly walks the paper out of the back of my truck. And it's a really neat thing. If a lot of people don't know what a walking floor is in a truck or trailer. So
mm.
yeah, it's a very, very unique business, and it's a very big business. There's a lot of competition on document shredding, a lot.
Yeah.
So
I had a contract here in transporting bales of shredded and torn papers to APM, at least done for APM. I used to do the same thing um, from Sydney and Canberra going up to Petrie in Brisbane, where they would recycle the paper. And we had to pull out, as you said, we had to separate everything over here. We had to take all um, the glossy papers. We had to pull it out because they couldn't recycle it here because they had to bleach it to get all the ink out of it. But even though you shred it, sometimes some papers don't get shredded properly,
and that is correct.
and it
That
comes
is
down to
That's
little
right.
items like this. Like I
That's
actually
right.
came across, out of all places,
Yep.
the paperwork, and this was in Canberra of all places, which is
Yep.
about 4 hours drive south of here. I saw a paperwork for a lawsuit that was going on with one company down here, and I think it was a hardware chain or was to be a hardware chain. And I
Yeah.
saw the documentation and was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
that hasn't been going on.
Yeah. And to Les's comment, in the late 70s, computer paper was premium. Yes, and I do remember that. And as a matter of fact, when I see computer paper, it's almost like it's almost like, for me, it's almost like finding gold, because you don't see it anymore. You don't see the computer paper. You just don't. So that's funny that you put that up there.
Okay. Glosses went to China. That's right. Yeah, you're right. They did, and there was a big. There was a big. I know in Peterborough there was a big pileup, but it got to a point where they weren't taking it because they just had so much of it. They didn't know what to do with it. But it's hard to explain. But you got all that sealants. It's like why they bleach paper. It's the only way they can get the ink and the glossiness and get the paper back to its normal. Okay, this is a brochure. This is. Sorry, I just enlarge it. This is like your glossy brochure. You got all your inks and coverages and whatnot to make it thick and durable and strong and whatnot. To be able to get all those impurities out of it, particularly ink out of it, the bleach will actually soften it.
Yeah.
But soften it, separate the ink from the actual paper. Because remember, this gets wet, it goes all funny. But to keep the ink away from the paper, they had to use the bleach.
Yeah. Hello, Mom and Sons train fans.
Yes. Petrie was a shocker, Les. It was an interesting plant, and I got to learn and understand a little bit more about recycling, particularly with paper. Like, even though they use the shredded paper to read, because they did cardboard. A lot of it was packing cardboard, like the corrugated stuff and what they make boxes out of. But it was amazing when I still seeing wood chips coming in, and they saying, no, we still need to use X amount of wood chip to make the recycled paper bond. And that the same thing comes down with steel. You still need to have X amount of raw steel to be mixed in with recycled steel to get that bond, to get that strength in it. G'day, Mum and Son. How are you? Welcome to the chat. But I was one of those people. I was a nosy bastard. That we were in export wood chip almost as an industry. Yeah, well, we're still doing some wood chipping down the south coast from me, but that all goes by ship. But we did lose a lot of wood chip in the bad bushfires we had in 2019. We did lose a lot of stockpiles of wood chip down there, down at Eden and the far south coast. But I'm a nosy bastard. When it comes to these factories and whatnot, I look at, but I want to know how it works. From this time that the raw materials come in to the time it comes back out to say, I'll bring the raw material in to me taking out to a packing factory. We sent to Newcastle. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're up the Central Coast, so that's it's kind of a bit of funny going up that way with lumber. I don't want to get too political. G'day, Sparky. How are you? I know over here some of these environmentalists. Look, I like the environment. I love my bush. I love my trees and whatnot. But some of them are gone too far.
Yeah.
One of my former.
But Rick from Rick's Railroad says we used to have a bunch of paper mills here. Now they are all gone. And correct, we used to have one directly here in Pomona, California, one of the largest producers of paper product. Gone. And actually, I mean, I still service a printing company, an actual printing company that has a pretty big printing press. It's just absolutely amazing to see this thing print newspaper and print glossy print. It's just they're one of very few in the Southern California area. So
yeah, well, see, we've had, well, luckily enough, we still got 5 We still got five paper mills in this country, but they're all on the East Coast. Yes, yeah, there is a lot of producers going to China, mum and son, yeah. But the other thing is also what someone mentioned here just a moment ago, Bernard and Les were saying a lot of people going paperless to save the environment.
Okay, let me explain something to you about paperless. Okay, first, it wasn't paperless. First, they were going. They actually called it paperless. Okay, we didn't worry about that. We were kind of worrying about the digital age, but believe it or not, they are putting on a lot of companies. They're still putting out just as much paper, even in the digital age, because I see it. I know. Now, yeah, there is less paper being out there, but I can tell you, there's a lot of companies out there that generate a lot of paper.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, a lot of paper. So, yeah, this is something that's going to be around for a while. But I remember the days where when I went to New York. Speaking about trash, they don't have trash service out there. They don't have a trash truck that comes up and picks it up and puts in their trash truck. No, they take it up the hill. They take it up the hill to a dump they've been doing for the last 40 years, and they burn most of their paper products, and still to this day they still do it. Still to this day they still do it. you
just got to
know
change the ways. You
yeah.
see, you have a look at a lot of countries like in Europe. I think Jean Ricard. I'm not too sure if he's still here. Um, I don't. I think they got a power plants as well, but a lot of Central European countries and even France now have actually they're using incinerators now to burn their trash.
I'm laughing at
And
Split Rocks. Yeah. Well, I hope you
yeah,
don't
but
take.
then you're using all the fresh water. Like the poor people in LA and in California, they got no water, so they're screwed, literally.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever try to wipe with toilet paper using one of those, washable toilets, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah,
gonna have to go. They're gonna have to go back to the old Roman days where you actually had the sponge on a stick, and you used to have to
really,
carry it all with you. Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah. They did have the toilet facility, but you used to have a sponge on a stick that you used to go and clean your backside with.
hey, I saw somebody put in here. Who was it? Completely change of topic. I think it was Ian from Lehigh River Subdivision. I think Ian says, "Oh, okay, here it is. Most of Earth oxygen comes from the ocean." I didn't know that because I was told most of the Earth's oxygen comes from the trees. So,
Combination of both. Combination of both. Um, but see, what they do is, yeah, look what Jean Ricard is saying. They're using it for their central heating. But another thing also what's becoming out of it, they're actually getting a byproducts now out of those furnaces, and they're using it for making of roads, like the asphalt, the bitumen that you have on
right,
top. It's making the roads a lot more durable.
yeah.
It the water drains out a lot faster, and yeah, it makes it a lot quieter to travel on, especially on where you got like high traffic volume. We've been using it. We've tried it down not far from here.
Okay,
Uh,
Artie, you got to put up Bernard C's a comment. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's hilarious. Monkey wards. Wow, there's memories right there, man. Monkey.
oh man.
Wow, man. I remember as a kid going to Montgomery wards. I remember my mom and dad bought their first boat right off the showroom floor here in Covina, California. rolled off the inside, hooked it up to the car, and we took it right over to Lake Puddingstone. And there was no instructions. It wasn't more than a half an hour. We got out there. My dad lost the motor, the outboard motor to the boat. It wasn't locked on. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't more than an hour we left from Montgomery Wards. I'll never forget it as a kid, but I'll never forget. I'll never forget going to. I've never heard that one. Monkey wards.
Mum and son, mum, I too would not be clean that sponge either. I tell you what, it's not, yeah. Mm. But I'm just saying that's what people in California might have to go to if they don't get some water up in those hills and don't conserve the water. But I mean, he got that out of hand. Here we have areas here that is plantation timber, particularly pine logs and whatnot. One of my former customers between here and Goulburn up the mountain, they planted all these pine trees. It's plantation pine. Originally, there was no timber there. They gone there and planted these trees in there. G'day, Kyle. How are you?
Hey, Kyle.
And conversation.
No, you know what, Corey? They're saying that it comes from all the cows. That's what they're saying. They're saying it comes from all the methane comes from the cows.
Well,
That's why we need to go green. As far as I'm concerned, green is going back to the day of caveman, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is.
That's green.
But now this pine plantation is for pine logs, plywood, construction timber, but mainly those pine logs that you have for construction, right? G'day, Steel 187. How are you, buddy? But the environmentalists come in and saying you can't chop down that forest. Now, originally it used to be, I don't know if anybody's watched the stream when I was going from on that train ride in Goulburn when I was going out. There was just paddock, no trees whatsoever. That's what this one area was like. And the customer's grandfather paying their trees and goes, hey, we need to chop down these trees because that's what our business is about. And there's a lot of areas where they've got plantation timbers. They're going, oh, no, you can't chop that down. Now they're going through the outback planting trees where there never was any trees, and the farmers are like, can't cut the trees that are growing out in the middle of their wheat paddock because it's no good to the environment. Are they going to lose 100 acres? No, can't chop the trees down. Don't get me wrong, I like the environment, I like my trees, but we're going back in the Stone Age. In some ways, we are going back. I mean, I still want to use paper. I still use paper all the time because I know I don't need battery power. I don't need a computer program to write things down on this or anything.
I'm sorry. I'm watching the comments fly by, and I'm just laughing.
Yeah, we fuck 8 times more than cows. Yeah, but you got to have a look at the digestive system of the cow, Jim. Their stomach and their exhaust pipe is a lot bigger than ours. So, of course, they get to exert more than what we do. 8 billion people to 1 billion cows. Yeah. But then again, you've got to look at what they do in India. They burn the cow patties to eat with and cook with. So yeah, it's
that's interesting.
As Thomas said, our conversation going to.
Corey says next summer on a hot day, I'll show you how much methane is emitted from a square foot of freshly cut grass. I have a combustible gas indicator. That's really interesting. Yeah, Tammy, I am. I mean, I'm just watching. I'm watching the chat, and you you guys are all typing really good stuff. Hey, Pappy, good evening.
Yeah, Pappy, how are you, buddy? But yeah, he was right about the methane and the gases coming up of cut grass and that, and then you're going to add sprinkled water. You sprinkle water on it, it speeds the process up.
Yeah.
What's that process called? Combustible heat. You see many of, especially here, you'll see big storage bales and hay storage bales that are stored. They get a bit wet, and all of a sudden they go up in smoke. Why? Because inside of it, it's cooking on the inside. Um,
Look, whatever they
oh no, we're
did,
not. We're not going to go to global warming part of it. We're not touching that part of it. Split Rock.
you
Yeah,
know,
we're not
I,
going.
I I can remember as being a young lad in Southern California. I can remember back in the 70s when we had smog alerts at school. Okay. And there's twice as many cars on the road there is now. We don't have those smog alerts anymore. So whatever they have done has worked. And I
Oh
do
yeah.
believe, yeah, no, I do believe, I mean, we've come to a better place as far as human beings,
Oh.
understanding that, you know, if we don't turn the tides a little bit, we could be in trouble. But that's not what worries me.
Yeah, that was about an hour ago, Split Rock.
I
Sorry.
mean, they've only got enough budget to only watch so much of the sky. So I worry more about something, that could, hit the earth and that's a whole different subject. I mean, I worry probably more about that than anything else, because they only have so much budget to watch the sky. So they can't watch everything. And that's true because there's been quite a
Well,
few asteroids that's gotten through, and they've been pretty powerful. And they never saw them coming until the last minute. So,
um, yeah, Jim, but I'll tell you what, the Indians are worse than the Chinese. The Indians are worse than the
yeah,
Chinese.
yeah, I'll agree.
China has actually picked up their game. Um, but actually, even here, like, okay, he's been a smart ass. But I mean, you have a look at our trains. Our trains are involved. Our trains have changed, right?
Here, are
But
you?
it's going back to
No,
what
we,
you were
we, we can
saying.
talk trains. Look at this beautiful scale trains. Isn't she gorgeous? She is just absolutely gorgeous.
I can't see it.
Yeah, I'm just showing you. There it is. Here, how
But
about
we
this?
have
Here,
we
here.
have changed our ways.
How about this Athearn Genesis? That's a beautiful. That's a beauty.
It's in the wrong colours. It's in the wrong colours.
Yeah, she's a
Hey,
beauty.
see now, are you?
Yeah.
It needs to be in the BHP bulletin colours. Um,
Yeah, this is the one in my shorts with my dog Bear that I ran.
oh,
I pushed the pink ball off the table, which honestly I thought my dog Bear with the Canadian Pacific pushing it off the edge would go ballistic. It didn't. I mean, who doesn't love animals? I mean, it was a great short, but it failed. I thought that was my breakthrough. I thought I might hit a couple million views on that, but it didn't.
hey,
Thank you, Captain. Yeah, no,
how does a
I gotta
cow
run though.
catcher work on a moose? I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yeah, but look at the trains. I was watching one of those clips from the old trains from Australia, and it was just
That
up
was
in the
really
mountains
cool,
here.
Artie. That was really cool. I was watching, I just couldn't join.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. But we had, I mean, you have a look back then, all the steam engines. How much pollution used to be around in Sydney just coming from those? Yeah, you had steam, but you also had a lot of soot being blown around in the atmosphere. Um, and there was one of them that I actually saw. It was one of the express trains where it was actually on a tour and it was taking off, and the whole community in the area was just covered in steam. And I remember even down here at my local steelworks, when we used to go through, used to have all when they used to bake the coke and they done the wrong recipe and used to have that rotten egg smell in the air. You don't get it at much. So we are A lot better than what we were since 1970. Yeah. Get up, buddy. How are you? Yeah, you got flies there.
No, I got this weird thing here.
Yeah, it's the company
In the
logo,
corner up
buddy.
here. I'm trying to peel it off.
Oh, and you want to peel
Here,
it off?
Artie.
Huh?
Here, Artie, make me big. I'm going to show Split Rock. He asked about new purchases. Okay, so this one right here is one of my latest purchases.
That's a nice
from
one.
Scale Trains. That's one of them. So that's a Ferromex. And then I've got, I also got this one from Scale Trains.
You can send that one down here so I can give it a test run.
And then I got the Heritage unit for BNSF. I mean, not BNSF, but for NS.
That's NS. How dare you?
I got that one. So, and I got one more. I got one more Ferromex. I got one of the other Ferromexes. Yeah, they're just so there you go, Split Rock. Those are my recent purchases. So I'm going to be running those pretty soon.
Actually, that's two engines that I would have loved or wouldn't mind getting a hold of.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the Ferromix to come out. I mean, I actually love their paint schemes.
I'd like to get a hold of that UP engine that you got there and the
the 1000 one or the
the 1001 and the Lehigh Valley one. I would love to get a hold of those two engines.
Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, that one's beautiful.
Yeah, that one and the Lehigh Valley one that you got.
And then the Lehigh Valley, let me see which one. Okay. Sorry, guys. This one right here. Yeah, she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful.
Particularly the Lehigh Valley one. They're the ones, in the Pennsylvania ones, they're the ones that I commonly used to see every time I was home in South Carolina. They're always there. They're always running around in that system. So I'd love to get them as an addition to the fleet eventually.
Yeah.
But
hello, Sean Pacific, and thank you.
I can't afford it at the moment because I still got another batch of tracks and whatnot to buy coming up to Christmas, so I can get in here and finish the track work on the layout. And now, by the looks of it, I need to buy a new computer too. So eventually I'll get some more of the American stuff. But they don't do passenger haulage. And I've got plenty of freight trains, but most of my operation, when I looked at, Bulkwood's going to be
trackside Mike. Well, fire them bad boys up unless that's my Christmas present, D-Rail.
I'll fight you for it, Mike.
Tell you what, the first one that comes down to California can have one. First one that gets here.
Yeah, what's it called? There's a question. My layout track has been down 10 years or so. I'm getting oxide between rail joiners and rail switching blades. Oh, okay.
Brillo pads work great. The little green Brillo pads, that's what I use. I use those in between. I scrunch them really thin, and then I'll make sure that the blade is the one side that I'm doing the blades all the way up the other side of the rail, and then I'll take it in there and I'll get in there, and then that usually works pretty good. It's a really thin green pad.
Yeah, but I think the other issue is I think you've been getting a lot of moisture up in your.
Mike, that's a good one, Mike.
You could come in and appear as a ghost real quick.
Uh-oh. Hello, Joyce. Oh, whoever.
A voice out of nowhere.
Hello. How are you? Yeah.
So
She's
Anthony,
good.
you were where?
I was at the Northwest Ohio Railroad Preservation Society in Findlay, Ohio, Christmas Train Gala.
Cool. Sounds
Say
like
that
a lot
5
of fun.
times fast, everybody.
She sells seashores
Actually, I
by the
think that might
seashore.
work, Mike. Yeah, I think that might
Oh.
work, Mike. I think if he sends it over to me first, I have a run of it here, then send it over to you. It will be actually cheaper postage wise.
So yeah, they were running what they called 1/4 scale trains. They had one steam and one diesel. And the diesel looked kind of like, I don't know, an F7 or something very similar to it, but then they have the backside cut out where the driver can actually sit in it and ride. But they called it 1/4 scale. Because Joyce is asking me, honey, what scale is this? What the scale is this? I said, it's not HO. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. I know HO and O and 1 and I know 5 1/4 and 7" or whatever, or 5 and 7 1/4, whichever way it goes. But yeah, after that, I have no clue. And I just said, it's big, honey. And but we took a ride on the diesel. No, we took a ride on the steamer. This came up out of the blue. My daughter saw it and wanted to go do it. And she said, Dad, it's trains. We're taking Cayenne. Does Oppo want to go along with Cayenne to see the trains? I'm like, okay, we're in.
Well, we know who the two kids in the family are now, don't we?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, you're in Cayenne.
And they had some layouts there, but they just got this. They called it 1/4 scale, Jean Ricard. But yeah, they have this big open park that they run it through, and they have all these Christmas lights and decorations up. And you're out there freezing your butt because it was what, -7, -8 Celsius at least. About 20, it was about 22, 23 degrees. So it was cold on the train, but we were dressed warm enough and some hot chocolate, and then we went out to eat.
So it's lunch.
Very cool. Sound like a very fun filled day there, Anthony.
It was fun. And they had some layouts in the building, and Cayenne was more into the layouts than being on the actual train because he didn't like the loud steam whistle. He did not like that. Every time it blew, he jumped a mile and just sat there going, oh, I don't, it's like, Cayenne, it's a whistle, just like on Opa's layout, But
yeah, but it's not the same. You can adjust the volume on Opa's layout whistle. You can adjust the volume on that, but the big one you can't.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem we had. He went into he went into where they had the 4 layouts arranged. They had an O scale, a Lionel, an O scale, an HO, and an N scale layout in their clubhouse. And they were running Christmas trains, although they also were running freighters. And I think the HO had a passenger going as well. But Cayenne is walking up there, he's looking at the guys run the trains with his finger. He's going like this, beep, 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 beep. And the guy's like, I said, he's looking for the horn button. Because on mine, he knows on my little handheld controllers here, he knows that there's a horn button and he can hit it, and the horns will go off on the locomotives. So he wanted to wanted to control the trains. But that's where I was. That's why I'm late or early for next week's stream. However you want to look at it.
I was just lucky I was lucky that the tech support was able to give me a hand to get the internet going, because within an hour before the show, my internet was not going to didn't want to fire up.
Ooh.
Wi-Fi wasn't working. Of course, I can't do nothing on the desktop, and then I moved this computer to the modem and just plug it straight in, and it's nothing wanted to work. And it's like, oh Christ, help me here! Everything's gone down the crap tube real quick this morning. And the thing is, they sent me a new modem, but there's no difference in the system. So I'm sending back the new modem back, so I don't get lumbered with $140 bill for a new modem. I'm going to send it back to him, and it's like, well, we need to do something here because this is not good. This is bad. But yeah, I'll get on top of it. But yeah, I'm going to have to build myself a new computer by the looks of it, and get that other one restored. Yeah, so that's the That's what we've been doing. So yeah, those are MS
Right.
shipping containers there, Plumber.
Yeah, they're Mediterranean Shipping Company. I just typed it in for him.
MCS. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, MCS.
Yeah, those are those are really cool. Those are kind of like one of my favorite containers. And believe it or not, in the consist, I see a lot of them. They're usually connected. They're usually stacked on top. You know, the 40 footers. I get a lot of 40 footers in my area. They're coming up from Long Beach up to. They're coming from Long Beach, going to.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, right. Yes, Anthony.
Yep.
And they're going to.
All right, I got to take this background off.
No, you're right. You're right.
Right. Yeah, split right.
Are those containers with mermaids on them?
I don't think so. No. That'd be a nice look.
That comes that's extra. That's extra, Thomas.
Of course, Daryl Hannah, she looked pretty good as a mermaid, if you ask me.
But then you got two different color schemes of the Mediterranean shipping companies as well. You got the containers
smelled like fish.
It's very fishy, yeah. Well, like the Sydney fish market, smelling like the Sydney fish markets after a Christmas sale, yeah. Hey, Stormy, how are you? They also got like a maroon red with gold writing on the side of them as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Thomas. You're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, we were kind of in plans to do something like that.
And Jean Ricard actually started it. He actually filmed the video. I'm the one who completely dropped the ball. Nobody else. I dropped the ball. But my defense is that right about that time is when Joyce's brother finally died. And then my best friend got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And everything just hit the fan. And then my friend Chris Whittingham died on top of that. And I just suddenly was like, yeah, I kind of forgot about all those little things we were supposed to do.
It's all right. We'll get you on.
So I'm the one who dropped the ball on that. Yeah, I've still got, because I also talked to Joyce. I wanted Joyce to film a little bit of this. I was going to green screen it with Joyce and have a bit set up. And maybe I'll get off my ass and try to do that.
I gotta wait for some more to turn up here because I want to do something with the real ones. And the ones that we did have here, they disappeared by the time I was allowed to drive and get down there. So I just got to wait for another one to come through. Hey, Ray. Oh, another one that's on the weekend day release from the missus. How are you? Nice to see you. Hope everything is well on your end.
Yeah, this is my fan club. All 8 of them. This is my entire fan club.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it must be somebody you knew because I didn't think you'd be taking pictures with them if you didn't.
Yeah. No, this was all YouTubers that I met at the York National Railway Museum in the United Kingdom. I think it's their biggest railway museum. I could be wrong. I'm not from the UK, but I think somewhere somebody mentioned that. So they're all UK YouTubers. So unless you follow the UK, but the guy in the yellow shirt is Richard Brown, and that's actually his mom. And he runs a site called Trains in the Attic. And then next to them, that is Andrew from March West Junction TMD. And then there's some weird guy there. Some American got mixed in with this group. And then in the white shirt in the front, that is Alan Wiles from Dragon Junction Mark II. Leslie Gilpin, who puts out some of the best rail fan videos you'll ever see. Carl Braun from Bang Gotcha Junction. And then Robert from Robert's Train Set. So they all came to York the day I went to York to meet up with me because they, for some crazy reason, wanted to meet me. And they thought, what the heck, get in a visit to the York Railway Museum and meet me.
Well, you promised them $100 each to show up. And it's
Some
still
paid,
waiting.
some paid me $200 not to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're still waiting for payment. So I've been
No,
told.
they were paying me $200 not to show up.
Oh. So that's why you didn't show. That's why you still you decided now you wanted more than 200.
Well, I showed up, so they didn't. I
Yeah,
lost a
yeah.
fortune.
Yeah, that would be 200 pounds. I don't know what is. How's the conversion rate between you and England? Are you guys stronger than the pound?
Oh, no.
No, you guys are weaker than.
You know, the pound is always the strongest.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. My understanding of world economics and such, I don't know if it's because I thought they were off the gold standard or whatever it is, but yeah, the pound is always the strongest money out there, although it has come down. It's about to buy £1, you need $1.27 right now. It was as high as $1.35 before we went to the UK. Right now, you need $1.05 or $1.06 to buy a euro. The euro, but 3 weeks ago, you needed a euro to buy $1.02. The dollar was actually stronger than the euro, but the euro collapsed. The dollar collapsed. Everything collapsed. Then the euro really collapsed and went below the dollar for the first time in 18 years. And now all of a sudden the euro has rebounded and is back above the dollar. And that's your economics reports. Over to Bob for sports.
Yeah, well, see, you guys. Yeah, well, see, for me to get $1 American are roughly at the moment. You can say $1.50.
Okay.
Yeah, it cost me $1.50. So
I remember it being as high as $1.80 Australian to buy $1 American.
Yeah, that was in 2010.
Joyce and I went to Niagara Falls in Canada one year where $100 got you 150 Canadian dollars, and that was a hell of a deal. And then 5 years later, it was $1 got you $1.13 Canadian, and there was a brief period where they were almost equal.
Les, they say 68 cents to the dollar. But to be actually honest, when you do the conversion rate, like I just done the conversion just recently.
3 cent rule.
I got $1.62. I mean, it was 62 cents, not 68, 62. So you can take about 46 cents off that for when you're doing the purchases, and that was going through PayPal.
Yeah, that's the percentage that banks take. See, when you look at a paper and you see the exchange rate, that's what a bank charges another bank.
Yeah.
When you go and get your ATM money, or you're going to pay for something, PayPal charges the bank rate. The bank charges you from American money perspective. Banks add 3 cents to the exchange rate. So if the euro and the dollar, if $1 bought you a euro 5, that comes down 3 cents against you. So the bank will only give you $1.02 because they take their 3 cents off, and then PayPal charges a 7% transaction fee on cross currencies.
Yeah, I know. When I used to go there, I got a Citibank account, and I found an advantage. I don't know what's going to be like now because National Australia Bank taken over the Citibank in Australia. But when I used to travel over to the US, I was able to use my Citibank at their participating ATMs and whatnot, and I'd only lose 2 cents. In the currency exchange. I don't know what's going to be like now, but I know with my normal everyday bank, the ANZ Bank, they charge me, I lose 6 cents plus they charge a 6% on top of it. And I'm going, well, you can get stuffed, basically. So now when I come over there, I'll just take a little bit of currency that I've got, but I've got money in my bank account in the United States, so I can actually use that there. G'day, Dave. How are you, bud? Kiwi Dave. Nice to see you.
Kiwi Dave. Hey, Kiwi Dave. Now, Thomas, I know the actual answer to that if you're asking seriously or if you're just kind of, because you have a very good subversive sense of humor, and I don't know if you're being subversively sarcastic, but I know the actual answer to that. So if you want the actual answer, let me know if you're just being sarcastic and I'm not catching you being kind of sarcastic. But for those who don't know, the British.
Well, I would like to know. I would like to know.
British pound was called the pound note sterling. And in the Middle Ages, it was a certificate from the exchequer of the king. We're talking the early Middle Ages. And it was worth 1 pound of silver, not a pound of gold, a pound of silver. Yeah. That certificate meant that you had a pound of sterling silver of wealth, which was a ton of money back then. And so once they went into their money system, they just kept it as the name of the money. But they also had the shilling. But that's what it was. It was a certificate. Just like your dollar bill, if you read on it, it's actually a promissory note. I mean, to simplify it, your dollar bill is a symbol that you have X number of money in your wealth account, however you want to phrase it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I had to put this. Sorry. But it's actually interesting to know. Look, even with the Australian currency, I mean,
Artie, who is Sheldon Dodge? Is Anthony? Is that your brother?
No.
He's making a joke about Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
Have you watched the Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon? You got to watch it to understand where that comes from. It's quite hilarious, actually. But see, even in Australia, like Australia also had pounds and shillings and everything else. We had the the English system here until mid to late 60s when we went from the pounds to the decimal currency that we are getting now, where the cents and dollars and whatnot. But about that time too, they went from
24 pennies equaled something equaled 1 shilling equal, and so many shillings equaled 1 pound. And then you have the pound and the guinea. And I grew up thinking the pound and the guinea were the same. And no, a guinea is like 1 pound 5 penny or something like that. A guinea is, I always thought guinea was just slang for another slang term for a pound. And no, it's a different denomination. And England had all of those. The English money system until they decimalized in the
1966. Thank you, Les. Thank you. I knew it was because that was about the time my mum and my biological dad was here. They came in here into Australia. They paid their way across. They came in 64. But yeah, they started with the pounds and the shillings and everything else. And then after 1966, they came right at the time when they were transferring over to the decimal currency.
Well, that's true, Jim Tedesco, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had the metric system was starting to come in the late 60s, at about that same time too. They went from the imperial and started slowly converting over to metric. But the metric only really started kicking off in here in the late 70s, as I remember, late 70s, 80s, when the Japanese cars and a lot more of the Japanese and European cars started coming out, because A lot of them have already been converting over to metric. If it wasn't for us getting that, then we'd, if it wasn't for that, we'd still be in an imperial system. Yeah. We need Monty Python money song. Yeah, no.
I like money, 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 money.
And it's like I'm still trying to get my head around the euro. Of course, you've been there spending more with the coconut migrant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Because you have your coins, like with the decimal currency with the American money, you got the dollar and cents, Australia dollar and cents. The old former Yugoslavian
90,000 pounds
money
in my
was.
pajamas. I've got 40,000 French francs in my fridge. I've got lots of lovely lira. Now the Deutschmark's getting dear. My dollar bills would buy the Brooklyn Bridge. I've got money, money, money. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Mexican pesos. Yeah, like in the old currency in former Yugoslavia, there used to be the dinar, which was like your dollar, and the para was like your cents. G'day, James. How are you? So I've got to work that one out. The euro, I'm still trying to work out the other form of the currency because I haven't really spent any of the coins there, but which I'm bound to find out real quick next year when I'm over there. But it was funny because there used to be a saying in former Yugoslavia, like the girl would come up to you and say, "I'll marry if you've got a lot of para." So I had pocket full of, and a para was like a para was like your pennies in America, right? They're worth something, but they're not worth it. They're worthless. And I had a holy para of the coins in my pocket and go, "I'm rich. Look, I got plenty of para." Yeah. But yeah, now it's either Deutschmark or euro that is actually still quite predominant in that part of Europe. Occasionally they'll talk American dollar, but you talk Deutschmark or euros, then yeah, that's popular because they can use that currency all over Europe. I don't know if the UK still can or not. I don't know if they're still accepting the EU, the euro. Are they, Anthony, when you were there last year, were they still accepting euro?
There are places that they'll exchange it, yeah, but you got to remember the UK never used the euro. The euro was a buy-in. So you have the European Economic Community, the EEC, and then with the Maastricht Agreement, they you could opt in and convert to the euro, or you could opt to maintain your country had to vote. Like Jean Ricard's country, Denmark, has a vote every few years because there's a certain aspect in the government that wants to go to the euro, but there's a lot of people like in the UK, this is our money, we don't want to change. Even if it would save them money in the long run, because all the conversion stuff, what was the movie where the guys found the little, like whenever banks did this, pennies got lost, but there are so many multi-million and billion-dollar deals, and this guy was able to he was working for a bank and he did the algorithm, and all those little hundredth of percentage points.
Good night, Plumber.
Hey, Plumber, good night. God, what was that movie? But
anyhow, I know.
He made himself a millionaire, like was it Brewster's Millions or something like that, where he basically just said all this extra, this 1/1,000,000th of a penny that gets rounded down or rounded up through international just sent it to me, and he made himself an instant millionaire because it adds up.
No, Les, we're not trying to say try the financial system. We're trying to work out how to make money out of it. Get your facts right, Les. Listen. Look, what was that banker? Les, you would have known about it. A couple of guys up here in Australia. It actually happened here.
Was that
one guy, a couple of there was a movie made. I know what you're talking about, but there was one person that was working, or a couple of them working in one of the big banks here in Australia.
Maybe it was the Superman movie with Richard Pryor, and that's how Richard Pryor made himself rich or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
No, I don't know.
But like the Deutschmark is not worth anything. Even banks in Germany will no longer. If you walk in with 100 Deutschmark coins, you're screwed. The first thing Germany did was, because the euro was worth twice as much as the Deutschmark, and the German government just said, we will give you the same amount of euros for any cash Deutschmarks you have. So any cash Deutschmarks you had, they were doubling your money. You doubled your wealth. And that was to encourage all these people from hoarding the money. And so they all brought in their silver coins. And then Germany said, I forget what the cutoff date was, but they converted 2001. And Germany said, you have until 2000.
I missed you.
Yeah, you have until 2007, 2008. I forget what the date was, to turn in your money. And after that date, we will not accept Deutschmarks, and no German bank will accept them now. I think they do make special occasions, like somebody who dies and they had a whole slew of them hidden in an account like that. They'll do some sort of special thing with that. But the average person walking in, so the Deutschmark, anybody who has Deutschmarks, they're worth nothing except maybe some coin collector will pay you something for it.
There was a banker in Sydney that actually did something similar, where it was taking $2 out of accounts here and there.
Was it Office Space? Postmodern Waterworks says it was Office Space. Yeah. Okay. I can't remember what it was.
And the guy almost got away with it until he got a little bit too greedy, and nearly got away with it when somebody went through his bank account and he's like, what's all these $2, $2 transaction, $3? Because it was so small and minute, an average person wouldn't pick up on it. And he made millions out of it doing it that way. But yeah, he's spending a lot of time in one of His Majesty's motels now.
It's not what the Germans tell me, Jean Ricard. But you're closer. Maybe you know better. But I've been told many times there was a cutoff date where, except in special circumstances, they won't accept Deutschmarks anymore. All right. Good night, Pappy.
Night, Pappy. Thank you for joining in. Yeah. But it's interesting to know, like, well, okay, g'day, Frank. How are you, bud? Nice to see you. I know we drifted a bit in the currency, but it's interesting to know how the currency works in the form of nowadays when we're buying all our rolling stock and model trains and that from all over the globe. Like, we were having a discussion last night. It was actually on Frank's stream. It was on Frank's last night. We like the Pico motors, their average price $33, $34 Australian. And it was actually Dwight that was saying they're actually expensive. But when you do the conversion rate, they work out about $22, $23 American. Evening, high esteem and steel. How are you? So it works out $22, $23 American. But to make it worth your while, you want to buy at least 4 or 5 of them to be worth your while to have it shipped from Australia to the US. And you're paying, your postage will not be more than $40, and that's airmail post, which will go on a plane from Sydney to the US. It won't go on a ship like what the United States Postal Service does. If you buy more than one item, it actually works out cheaper. In long term, I mean, $23, $24 for a set of turnouts, like a Pico turnouts, that's not a bad deal. Because if I mention a price, I'm probably mentioning a price, the Australian price that I'm paying, but then you got to do your conversion rate, and it actually works out cheaper for you in America. Like, I wouldn't actually recommend you, Anthony, to get your marking track from my bloke here, because
yeah, and that's funny. The American track, to relate this stuff right back to model trains.
Yeah.
Miracle Track is the one thing that when I buy from Germany, I don't really save any money than buying it here in America. That's the one thing I'll go to. I don't have a local shop, as I always say. Nearest shop is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But I will usually go there to buy track because the standard track, there's shops in America that actually sell it for the same price I'd get it for in Germany without the shipping cost, which is not true with the locomotives. For whatever reason, Miracle C track I'll pay the same in Germany as I would, or in the United States as I would from Germany, where a loco, I'll save $100 buying it straight from Germany, but the track, I don't save a penny. In fact, I lose a little bit of money on the shipping cost unless I buy other things with it. Like I save $100 on the loco because the track is the same exact price. But then I know a shop on the East Coast that actually sells it for cheaper on the East Coast US that will sell Miracle Track at a slightly discounted price than even a better price than I could get it from Germany. And that's the only thing that is cheaper or same price in America.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because the guy that I would, that is the distributor for it here in Australia, you'd actually be paying more than what you'd be buying for it from UK, or from Europe or from the US anyway. So I wouldn't go up buying from him. But yeah, in Kiwi Dave was just saying like a lot of his stuff gets stuck in customs. It depends where it's coming from, because I've been noticing, even with stuff that I'm getting from China at the moment, it's actually taking a bit longer to get through customs. And of course, it's that time of the year when they've actually found a little bit of extras in the shipment, so they're taking extra care when they're going through the scanning and X-rays. But I've got to say they have improved with the postage and the transportation system here, because they've gone back to the old method. The old method worked, so they actually reconfiguring back to the old system, the old computer system. Funny that, isn't it? The stuff that's coming from the US is pretty much it'll arrive in this afternoon and it's cleared by the morning. But a lot of stuff that's coming from China and Europe, that's taken about 4 or 5 days to clear customs. U3D. Yeah, I spent a bit on the Black Friday / Thanksgiving sale from Trainwell, where I've got a whole heap of turnout motors. Because it just works out cheaper for me, because they work out, even with the weak Australian dollar, it still works out cheaper for me. And this is what I'm going, like I was explaining to Dwight before and saying now. It works out cheaper if you're buying bulk commodities, because the unit price, even with postage, works out a lot cheaper. Like my turnout motors, the tallest ones, will work out, what did I say, $19.60 something, say $20, round up to $20 each, compared to paying them from about $45 to $57 each in Sydney, at the hobby shops up there for the tortoise motors. And when you need so many of them, it's just expensive. I spent $0 on Black Friday. Yeah, no, I spent mine on the Monday. So that would have been more of a Cyber Monday sale. But yeah. I haven't bought, apart from the Union Pacific, they were second-hand ones. Oh, did you, Aho? You got some SDS Model 10 cars from Australia. Oh, are they the milk tankers, or are they the fuel tankers, gas tankers? They are very nice models. They are very nice. I haven't got any of them, but they are very nice model trains. They are. From there, and they sent it. We received it. Was 13 days, and that's good. And that was used in the mail system. That's good. 13, 14 days shipment by post. That's pretty good. For the postage to come from US to here is double that. That's if they decide to put the stuff on the plane instead of in a shipping container.
Mm-hmm. My daughter's had that problem.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
You got my daughter sells stuff to Australia. She gets people in Australia who buy her products, and she had to stop selling to Australia for quite a while because people would be putting $15 orders, but it was an $80 shipping charge. And so my daughter had to say, at this time, we cannot ship to Australia because it's just not cost effective to you, the customer. All right. Good night, Ray. Nice seeing you.
Yeah,
Good
Ray,
night,
nice to see you. Hope everything's all right your way. I know you didn't have post anything up this week due to some issues at home. So hopefully everything's all right and everything's sorted itself out. So hopefully see you in the next week or so, buddy. Look after yourself. Stay warm.
I've got orders from Germany in 2 days where they process the order on Monday and it's on my doorstep Wednesday afternoon. So yeah, most of the stuff I order from Germany, other than some hiccups early this year, if I order it, it's usually from the time they process the order, it's 2 to 3 days, and it's on my doorstep.
Well, I mean, have a look at
a day or two to process. So literally, from the time I order to it's on my doorstep is never more than 5 business days, not counting Sunday.
Well, you have a look at my shipment that I ordered last year, just after Christmas.
Right.
I bought those GG1s and whatnot, and they were the last of the GG1s from BLI, from the models that I bought. And I paid air freight, airmail. But because of all the saga and everything else that I decided to do, and it's been going on for a while since the showstopper, and they'll giving misinformation to people buying stuff, saying due to whatever there's a reduced shipment to Australia. It's like there wasn't. They decided to put it on the ship. The ship hit a bad storm, and now the container's still floating out in the Pacific Ocean. I managed to get the money back, but I don't want the money. It's not so much me getting the money back, but I can't get those models anymore. And that was the most annoying thing out of it. And I believe there are some people that are actually doing a joint lawsuit against the United States Postal Service for doing that. Because you charge for one when you can still be providing the proper service.
Right.
I can order.
And the funny thing is, I can order something that's a 5-hour drive away, and it'll take 2 weeks to get to my house.
Yeah.
And that's not the U.S. mail. That's the people that ship it out. I can't tell you how many times we bought or tried to buy from this particular European model place outside of Chicago, and they tell you, yeah, we got it in stock, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, you'll get a notice. We don't have it in stock. We put it on back order. Do you still want to pay for it, or we paid for it? Do you want a refund, or do you want to just wait? And yet you talk to them, and do you have this in stock? Yes, we have it in stock. Okay, I'm ordering it. And they're horrible, and it takes forever to shipping, and it's anywhere from $14 to $20 for them to ship from Chicago, and I pay $27 to ship from Germany, and I'm saving $100 on the price for a locomotive, and I'll get it a lot sooner. So it's a no-brainer to me.
You see, Jeff, you were saying you like to stick to Amazon. I'll tell you now. Most of the purchases that I do, I don't need Amazon. Even if I order stuff from Amazon, it will take me an average 3-4 days or up to a week for it to get here. That's if it's in this country. If it's not in this country and it's, say, US, which they got the bigger warehouses, it will take 3 weeks to get here. I can go up to the local electronics shop or some of the stores nearby, and I can buy the same item. Yeah, I might pay an extra $1 or $2 extra for it than on Amazon, But the good thing is, it's in my hand. I can have a look, and um, if it's no good, something fails, I can take it straight back and exchange it right on the spot. And it keeps the brick and mortar store shut down. Like, it's a Sunday here. I want to go up the road and, just for example, I want to go up and get a toggle switch. I want it now. I need a new hard drive, paintbrush. Yeah, I can order it now from Amazon, but I'm not going to get it till Wednesday. But I want to do it now. I've got time to do it now. So if I go up and support my brick and mortar store and go and buy it straight from them, I know it's going to be, I can go and do that again next time, and time after that, and time after that. I don't have to wait for it. I can do my project on the spot. Amazon is a good idea, but it is actually killing a lot of the brick and mortar stores, that for people that are time poor, want to get something done straight on the spot.
Well, yeah, it's I see what you're saying. The problem is the brick and mortar stores don't play the game correctly. And again, there's a difference when you're talking brick and mortar. Are we talking the mom and pop shops that get screwed either way, or are you talking the big conglomerate stores? Because, like, I have this problem. Like, let's use an American company that a lot of people might know, Best Buy, which basically is electronics and home appliances and stuff.
Yes, Split Rock, you can.
Outside of TVs and phones, and some refrigerators, that you walk into a Best Buy nowadays, and they, like, let's say you want a DVD player. You want a DVD player, all right? You still got some DVDs. You want a Blu-ray player, whatever. You walk in, they will have two models on the shelves. And you go, like, but your website shows all these models. Yeah, but we only keep 2 models in stock. The rest we can order for you. I'm like, I can order it for me elsewhere. The whole point is I wanted it today. Like you were saying, I want it today, because that's the drawback of Amazon or ordering. Sometimes you want it today. And I accept limitations, like being an American into German trains. There's no such thing as getting it today. There is no mom and pop shop within 2 hours that sells anything I would buy. And the one that's 2 hours away sells track, but most of their stock is older stock, and it's not modern passenger that I tend to collect. They don't get all the new releases in. They pick and choose maybe 1 or 2 of the 20 new ones being released that they think will sell in their area, which, again, I understand. But, that's my problem. I still want to go to Walmart or Best Buy or something and pick something up today. I'm like, oh, we don't have it in stock. And in Amazon, I have next day shipping. So if Best Buy had it on the shelf in their store, I'm giving Best Buy my money and walking away with what I want that moment. Amazon, well, I can get the next day. Now, Best Buy says we can get the next day too. Yeah, but Amazon's a little cheaper, so you lose on that game.
Well, that's like Best Buy shooting themselves in the foot, really.
Yeah, like exactly. That's why I said some of these stores get in their own way. They don't play the game right.
Yeah, and they'll shoot themselves in the foot. They deserve to be they deserve to go out of business. But when you got people like, I got okay, I got to travel an hour and a half away from here, on average. Fair enough. But I got up in Sydney. I got Kashila Hobbies. I got Model Railway Craftsman in Blackdown. Then I've got he calls himself Woodpecker Hobbies. He deals with mainly English and second-hand trains. But they all got stock in there. They got Woodland Scenics products and whatever I need. If I'm that desperate for it, I'll jump in a car. Okay, they're not open Sundays now, but I can jump in the car, go up there, come back. Within 3 hours, I've got it in my hands. 4 hours if I get it, if they give me a cup of coffee. but they kept their stock up. Now we did have one model down here, or one model shop here, and what his undoing was, um, he didn't keep his stock up. That was his biggest undoing. And when he did get stock in, instead of letting it sell itself, he'd use it for himself. And of course, you're not going to make money if you're going to dig into your stock, are you? Well, yeah, Les, some of them do, but I mean, the three that I mentioned, like the three that I'm talking about, they usually have got the stock that we need. And the basic and a lot of the basic stuff. I'm not talking about rolling stock as such. Rolling stock is a little bit different. Um, but say you need your bits and pieces to keep yourself going, like your paints and track and whatever. You got your store where you'll go to, and as I said, for an hour and a half, that's not an issue for us here. I mean, I know it's a bit of an issue for you guys in America if it's more than half an hour's driving. Only because you guys are too scared to drive or can't drive or you're too tired. No, up your way, there's nothing up there anymore. It's all gone. I can't remember. I think there was one in Grafton, was it? Or was it in Kempsey? There was one up your way, but he wasn't much of a hobby shop either. But see, for people like Les, when it comes to a hobby shop, yeah, he'll have to do mail order, or yeah, he'll have to turn to Amazon in some cases. I mean, the nearest hobby shop to Les, geez, your nearest hobby shop would be Gold Coast. I don't know if the Gold Coast one is still open, or you'll have to come back down here to Sydney or Newcastle. Actually, Newcastle is his nearest one, which is Frontline Hobbies. To give you an idea where Les is from me, he's north of me, is between here and Brisbane. He's in the middle there somewhere. Gold Coast. So the one at Gold Coast is still open. So yeah. So actually the Gold Coast one will be actually closer to you, Les, than will be here. So that's 5-6 hour drive. And I'm going by truck. I'm not talking about car. I'm talking about truck. It used to average about 5.5 hours to get from south of the Gold Coast. Gold Coast area is, for the Americans, is like your Miami to Fort Lauderdale area. Very beachy, very overpriced and overrated dump hole. Is it 2.5 hours to the Gold Coast? Oh yeah, that's right. You got now the new bypasses and that. So yeah, I haven't been up that way for a while. I need to go for a drive. They cut a lot of the mountains out.
Yeah. See, Jeff, the railroad enthusiast, says that they're in Delaware. They have a lot of hobby stores. For example, in my hobby, the European train market, there's a bunch of stores on the East Coast. There's a few on the West Coast, obviously close to the import. But yeah, here in Toledo, nothing. And Toledo, we have a chain store called Hobbytown USA. And we have Hobby Lobby, but the Hobby Lobbies here in town do not sell model train stuff. They're basically Michaels. And if you don't know what Michaels is, it's a craft store. So Hobby Lobby here in Toledo is a craft store. It's no different than Michaels or Joann's Fabric. They have no model train stuff here. Hobbytown USA has a small selection of model train. It's getting smaller, but they have a little corner where they have quite a bit of American stock, N scale, mostly HO, but they have some N scale. They have a lot of track. They have some Woodland Scenic supplies and model kits from Walter's Cornerstone, but definitely they don't have anything for me. But and that's it. Now, 40 years ago, Toledo had 12 different model train stores, not even counting the hobby shops.
Yeah.
There was Hobby City USA, which is a different thing than Hobby Town USA. And then all the different department stores, like Sears had a toy store that had a model train section and all that. And now in Toledo, a city of 300,000 people, we have 0 model train shops. And then we have one Hobbytown USA shop. That's the one place. We have Menards, but the Menards, I think, sells a couple of the Menards special buildings in HO scale that you can buy for layouts, but they don't have the track or the locomotives that some Menards in other parts of the country have. So there is really no place to go. In fact, one of the last shops to close in Toledo, the guy is now online, but he lives in Georgia. There's if anybody here from America has, or even elsewhere, has bought from a shop in, I think it's Beaufort, Georgia, but it's called Trains, Trainz. He's actually he lived about 2 miles from where I live now, 3 miles, in a small suburb of Toledo called Maumee. And he ran a train shop here for years, and he moved to Georgia, I don't know, 10 years ago, and opened a shop. And about 3-4 years ago, he closed the shop, and now he's online only.
Well, so I'm lucky here because, okay, it's an hour now, as I said, an average an hour and a half, and that's taking in traffic and whatnot. You know which shops to go to if you're after a certain product. Yeah, I'll get back to Liz's comment in a moment. I've got the European train shop, which is just up where Creepy used to be. He's an hour and a half away, but he charges like a wounded bull. Sheila Hobbies, he specialises in a lot of Australian stuff, particularly the older Australian stuff, during a transition era, but you can cover from steam to modern diesel within certain range. But you can do modern trains with him as well. Monterey Craftsman, well, he basically deals with NCE decoder, ESU decoders, soundtracks, but he was basically more American rolling stock, and I can get a lot of American stock from him more than the other place. The other stuff I have too, but he's more specialized in American stuff. Woodpecker, well, he's more into the English stuff. So if you want to go somewhere, you go like, well, you do your rounds. Okay. You do your rounds. Like,
Get your ball.
If I need the Woodland Scenic grades or whatnot, I'll ring up Sheila first. If he hasn't got it first, then if he hasn't got it, I'll go to a Craftsman. If he hasn't got it, one of the 4 will have it.
You want your ball?
Is he up there now, Les? Because he used to be down here.
Let's see. Ohio Steam and Steel says in Lancaster, Ohio, they've got a great shop, and they just picked up a $2 million HO model collection from an estate. That reminds me, I was in a computer shop this week. It was Wednesday because I had to have a tune-up done on my monster computer here. And the guy, we were talking about trains, because one of the issues is, well, I won't get into that, but we wound up talking about my YouTube channel and all the cameras I have. And but there was a young guy in there, young, 30-ish, around 30 or whatever. And he says, wait, you're into trains? Yeah. He says, dude, you can have it for free. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I've got a 40-foot long layout table. He says, it's as big as this shop. And the guy says, well, this is about 48 feet. He says, okay, it's probably about 40 feet long. Buildings, the track, there's some trains available. I bought this house. It was in the basement. I don't know what to do with it. You want it? It's yours. I'm like, it's DC, it's American. I said, I could take the trains and the track and the buildings off your. And I says, well, it doesn't have a lot of trains, and all the buildings are, glued or whatever, mounted onto the layout. I was like, well, I got nowhere to put a 40-foot layout until I could decide how to sell it myself. He's like, well, where do I sell it? I said, go to eBay, go to look on Facebook or somebody and look for the sales. I said, now, if you had German stuff, I could tell you exactly what sites to go to try to sell it off. But this guy says it's 40-foot long and about 4-foot wide or whatever. And I'm like, I can't do anything. But yeah, you can find stuff like that here in America. You don't necessarily need your shop if you're paying attention to that. But wow. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go up the north coast soon to go for a drive up that way where Les is, because the roads and that changed a lot. That's a long way to go non-stop without seeing the traffic right. So I could basically go from my place on the Hume Highway up to Les's place and only see one traffic light. That's scary. Actually, no. No, that's from Hexham. No, not from here. I still get a couple of traffic lights. We got hamburgers, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries. Oh, Sparky, you're making me hungry. That's it. I'm not going to change the colour of your shirt. It's going to be khaki grey. I was doing the my mini prints figures last night. And I was thinking, what colours were they wearing when they were doing the 3D scan? And I just thought, I'll just pick up a colour. So I ended up putting khaki grey top for Sparky.
See, that's the funny thing. When you watch them on their live feeds, like he's always in a muted gray, lighter gray to dark gray shirt with his logo. Sparky might be in a hoodie, but Rick, every now and then he's got this one green T-shirt on. But they all wear muted colors in some kind of grayscale. I've got their figures over here that I've primed and was going to paint this weekend, but we did decide to do this train thing as well instead, so I didn't get to it. But I'm like, it's like blue and gray. They're all going to be in blue and gray, and so I'm sort of like, I got to go find an older live stream from Sparky and find a case where he's in a hoodie here, but maybe there's a red hoodie he wears sometime. I mean, otherwise I'll make it Conrail blue and call it good.
Well, I ended up mixing up a nice blue for because I couldn't think of what colour Rick was wearing, because I got Rick the Tree and I got him, and I got a nice blue for him, and I managed to get a nice tone of blue for the jeans. But when I looked at the video, like Rick, was wearing green at the time. It's like, well, he's not wearing green now. He's wearing blue. You can get stuff. But then I looked at Sparky's doing his figures, and it's like Conrad blue, and I was like, oh crap! I painted him in a khaki grey colour. Well, I suppose I can give you a blue if you really want me to paint you in blue and make you look like a Smurf, Sparky.
Steven's usually in a sort of a light blue.
Okay, TV, David. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna
all right,
sign
Dave.
off.
Good night.
See you later, Kiwi Dave.
Or good afternoon.
Hey, there.
It'd be good night for him soon. Yeah, it's 4:00 in the afternoon for him.
Come here.
But,
yeah, I was trying to figure out what because I got Tom Strange. I think I've got him as well. He's got those camo shorts on it, so I'm just going to give him green pants. He can get.
So I was just. I mean, I rarely see Sparky from the waist down, anyhow, and so I was just going to give him a pair of tan khakis and a Conrail blue hoodie, And then I'll try to do, I mean, I don't think I ever see Heath wearing anything other than his gray t-shirt with his logo, but I can't paint that logo at that small scale anymore. So
he's not going to get a logo. They're just getting plain
I'm
shirts.
going to print it up, and I just do something really cheap and accurate. I print it up on thin address labels. I stick it on and matte over it, and then you've got their little logo and HO scale as finely detailed as anybody could make it. And I'll do that probably with Rick with Foltz Bailey.
And well, yeah, I'll put blue pants. I'll go and get them. I've got blue pants. You got the same color pants as what Rick has got, Sparky. I'll be back in a minute. I can just go and get them. Smurf, buddy. Yeah. I'll be back in a moment.
Oh, well, I won't type that in since Ohio Steam and Steel. Yeah, actually one company bought both, but yeah, the company bought Rocco, and then a couple of years later they bought Fleischmann. And what they did is Fleischmann was one of the highest quality HO scale. But because Rocco was the older company and the more established company had the bigger price range, what they did is Rocco is now the HO branch and Fleischmann is the N scale branch, where both companies made HO and N scale. Now there's no longer Rocco N scale, it's Fleischmann N scale. And then Rocco is the HO scale, and there's no more Fleischmann HO. And this bothers a couple of my friends who are into European trains, including my friend Jim in the UK, because his favorite track is Fleischmann Profi track. And that they stopped manufacturing a couple of years ago. And now on the secondary market, it is just very hard to find. If you find it, it's very expensive. But yeah, because Fleischmann, I mean, I would have rated Fleischmann even higher than Rocco. Rocco is my second favorite company after Märklin. I just, now they're on the layout over here. I just bought a couple of Rocco Class 193 locomotives, the 193 Vectron, and they're fabulous. Again, Rocco just makes top line stuff, and they don't charge top line prices. They're a very good company. I mean, I prefer Märklin just because everything I do is Märklin, and I just have this belief that Märklin stuff is designed to work with the Märklin system. It's all meant to work together, very integrated, where other companies that make stuff for Märklin, they're adjusting their stuff to work with Märklin, but Rocco's the best at it. Brava's probably second, but Rocco's the best at it.
Yeah, guys, my dog is, like I said to Jim in the chat, my dog's had enough of me ignoring him. He's getting anxious. He's getting mad at me. So he's over there pouting. And pretty soon, if I don't pay much attention to him, he's going to start chewing on something. And, that's what he does. He gets mad. I mean, he's kind of like human almost, I think all dogs, sense. He just had enough of me ignoring him. He wants me to throw the ball. And he wants to play ball. That's his thing, ball.
Need attention. Yeah. They're like kids. They have that sense in them. They're pack animals. They want the pack to be active. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
At Ohio Steam and Steel, I have never owned a Ray model. They tend to work in genres. I mean, I'm basically very simplistic. I'm Central European, most modern era 6. And now from friends that collect, I've heard good things about Ray, but it really seems to be a specialist genre. And then LS models, again, the people that collect them love them, but I can't give a personal account of them. But I've not read a person say LS models are horrible. And I've debated buying a couple of things they've made because it's something I want, and they made it, but their prices were a little higher than, let's say, what I buy with Märklin or Rocco. But yeah, the people I know that do LS models always sing their praises, so they come highly regarded.
Sparky, I actually have them all. I even have the caterpillar one. It's not a heritage, but yeah, I actually own them all. So, and I believe they're all the tsunami ones. What's behind me are all tsunami ones.
So I'm just taking a fluff of that's how Sparky is looking at the moment.
Oh, he's wearing those 80s tie-dyed jogging shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the NFL teams did those at one time.
Yeah, and then I've got this one's wrecking HO. That blue come up all right.
Yeah, no, it's looking pretty good there, Artie.
Yeah. And of course, I got him in O gauge because this one's a special one. I got him in the O gauge in the same color. So the jeans come up pretty good. I've got that jean look effect on it. So I don't know. I might touch them up. I still got to work on the colors. I do have two different skin tones for them, which I'll adjust accordingly. I couldn't get the Tamiya one, so if I had a Tamiya flesh tone, I would have had 3 different tones of flesh, but I couldn't get it. So, what's that? You got a good. Yeah, I did. I got the paint on. I have painted it, but I think I'm gonna have to get someone else to paint for me later on because I do want to get some more. But just the way my thumb is at the moment, holding up the paintbrush and that is just not fun. But I found it so fragile. The one with the camera with Heath in it, the camera actually, the top of the camera broke off, and that was just by you with the paintbrush. So I've got to take extra care with all the detail on it. They're beautiful models. They're very beautiful models.
Yeah, that 3D printing does come out. I think the O scale, you get more of the facial features. You get the facial features better. In the HO scale, it's just so much harder to get that. I'm a little curious how I'm going to do the various facial hair. But yeah, the biggest thing is I do want to put and actually the funniest thing is I want to do I'm really debating doing Sparky and doing either his green wig or his pink wig.
Pink.
And the funniest thing, you know what, the best thing that works in HO scale to do those wild sort of punker wigs that Sparky would wear in his live stream is the small tufts of grass you would get from woodland scenic flowers. Seriously, I can't show it to you, but I have a joke scene on my layout over at one of the platforms where Santa and the reindeer are on vacation and they've been pulled off the train by the German police. And all the reindeer are wearing these like punk rock wigs and everything. And I put it on a figure as well, on this one guy as well. And it's like, yeah, it looks just like one of Sparky's wigs. So that's the best way to do it. If you want to do one of those little spiky punk rock, don't do any tricks. Just go get one of those tufts of grass, glue it on, shape it right, trim down what you want to trim down, paint it because it holds the paint really well too. So I've got all these punk rock reindeer over here.
Yes, Sparky, you're going to be a static grass project. Well, that's a good idea, though. That's a really good idea, Anthony. Like I got intentions of just wrong. It's so wrong, but it's so good.
It's like I've got Rudolph because they've got cases of beer. Santa is holding like a bottle of Jägermeister in his hand, sunglasses on, in his red robe and a Speedo swim trunk, and he's got 2 cops talking to him, and one of the cops is reaching for his handcuffs behind his back. And the reindeer are all sitting there. Rudolph is puking. And they're all wearing all these goofy, they've got necklaces and shades, sunglasses on. Several of them have got spiked punk rock haircuts going. And it was a bad day. It was a bad day for Santa and the crew on the train, you know. So,
obviously.
and I was trying to figure out how was I going to do punk rock. And I happened to have been putting little tufts of grass in the one area that I ballasted in that, and I was just putting some tufts of grass, and so I had it on the side, and I said, that looks like it could work as a wig. And so I just took the round circle, cut it into a straight strip on both sides, pop right on the head, frizzed it up, you know, glued it to hold it in place, painted it, coated it, and it's one of these days I'm going to take a picture and post it behind me. Maybe I'll do that for next I mean, I could probably do it in 5 minutes here and load it onto my camera, but
do the peanut butter jar contest. Yeah, well, I'm going to try to do something with the morning after, with the evening after of Santa's delivery, Christmas delivery, which failed. Yeah, so I'm working on something on that, and I'm going to try to do the peanut butter jar lid. I'm going to enter in the competition. Why not? But yeah, they'd be. I've got jobs for them already on my layout.
If you want to see the problem I have painting now, because I have not painted a figure in 2 or 3 years. And for those who know, I've been posting, I've got a series of videos I'm doing over the next 24 days, the Fowler and Noak Advent Calendar figure thing. Many of you here have seen it. And I'm doing one video a day for the next 24 days where I show what figure, you know, these are HO scale figures. They also make them in N scale. But anyhow, we were rewatching this when I posted it. And now I'm left-handed. And my left hand is in worse shape than my right. But Joyce and I were watching the video on TV, and Joyce says, honey, look at your hand. And if you watch my thumb and my forefinger, I'm just sitting on the table like this talking. But seriously, if you watch that video for 3 minutes, you'll see why I've had to stop doing a lot of micro work and why I don't get a lot done on my layout, because I can't even solder anymore, because that thumb is just shaking all over. And that's when I'm not trying to hold something. The stupid nerve damage.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, you the thumb. How much we have to reliant on it just to do the basic things, and mine's getting worse. The right one's getting worse, and just doing the basics is just a struggle. But yeah, we're gonna have to love to see what you do with it. It's gonna be a crack.
I'm trying to work the courage up, and I'd work the courage up to do it Friday night and today. Like, okay, I'm gonna get the paints out and do this. And then my daughter said, "Hey, do you want to go to this train thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But I don't know if I'll get to it tomorrow. I might try, but I'm also working on other things for my channel. And now I've got all this video from this train show we went to. But my life right now, when it comes to model trains, is sort of like that scene from Blazing Saddles. And, you know, where they sober up Gene Wilder's character, the Cincinnati kid, or Frisco kid. And he's talking about, you used to be the fastest gun in the West. You know, well, you see that hand? Yeah, not bad. Yeah, but I shoot with this hand. You know, that's painting nowadays. See that hand? Well, that's not bad. Yeah, but I paint with this hand.
Yeah, but the other one thing I will have to buy next week is I'm gonna have to buy myself a better pair of work glasses, magnifying glasses, because the ones that I have now, it just doesn't bring it up close enough to get the brush in the right spot too. So then again, I probably don't want to, because they're not going to see all the painting mistakes that I do. And again, camera will fix that up too.
It was just weird watching it. It was like, damn, that's my hand doing that? Yeah.
Jeff, I haven't had much at all at the moment. what I've been actually doing at the moment, I've been working on my worksheet at the moment to do the turnout labeling and component labels where they're going to be. G'day, Serena. How are you?
I thought you were working on the kangaroo ranch.
That was meant to be a secret.
By the way, guys, when we say kangaroo ranch, I just want you to understand. Just think Mustang Ranch, but in Australia.
Yeah. Mate, that's it. You're not getting any kangaroo jerky now. That's it. You're off the list.
Dude, I just got it in, walked right in the front door, set it down in your living room, and walked out.
I wish. No, I haven't really done anything apart from that one that keeps accusing me of being a father to its child. Get out of here. We know whose lap you've been sitting on for the last 12 months, and it wasn't mine. Basically, what I've been working on is working on a plan for my labeling me point motors and blocks and whatnot, so I can do my drop feeds and lead into the manual control panel I'm going to have, just so I make it easier for myself. And that doesn't look very good position there, Anthony, with you and your girlfriend there. She's got a big smile on her
witness protection program. This is your girlfriend. And that's why she's hunched over like this. All the damage you did to her.
Damage I done to her?
Well, that's her. That's what her lawsuit says.
Yeah, we got that here too, Sparky. Not far from me here. Symbio Wildlife Park, and you can also get you can even get close and cuddly with the koalas there too. And no, they're not wearing their drop bear costumes on that day. They're actually usually on best behavior. Yeah, you got the kangaroos, you got the wombats. You got the wombats, but they don't let them out loose. Wallabies that are very hard to find. Yeah, Les, but you're in the middle of the sticks almost. Yeah, by the way, Les actually done a nice little car fire. He set his car on fire. The whole yard went up as well with it. The scrapyard of cars, and because he's in a place in Grafton, then there was someone that had like an semi-illegal car wrecking business there, and it went up in smoke. Yeah, those wombats. Yeah, the wombats are Royal Kenworths over. Yeah, they're the good ones. Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, I bet. Oh, that fire was huge. Yeah.
You know, it's just sad when those 70s rock bands get back together. Hang it up, guys. It's over. No, I'm sorry.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping to get some of it done sometime this week.
I told Joyce I'd only be on for half an hour, and I've been down here over an hour.
Yeah, Aussie half hour. You didn't specify which half hour.
Same thing as a New York minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard of those stories released, and I need to roll one too, hitting a wombat. And I'll tell you what, they're small, but I tell you what, they are more evil than a kangaroo. A kangaroo, they'll disable your radiator or bonnet or come in through your windscreen. But the wombat, for something that's the size of a dog, an average sized dog, can roll over an 18-wheel or 22-wheeler as we got them over here. That is evil. They are evil creatures for something small. Yeah, hotbox. You're gonna
over in the corner. You don't love me anymore. Why do you ignore me? I thought we were friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, all the straight, all those rails. The next minute, we're going to see the Alice Springs.
All right. I probably should
Double
get
stack
going. I don't know
rollover.
how long you're staying on, but I should get going.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it quits now anyway. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for everyone for joining in. I'm gonna call it quits. It's nearly 3:00 here. I want to get a few little bits and pieces done. So thank you for teeing up, Anthony. Looking forward to seeing your outing, and can't wait to see what you're going to do with the minifigs.
Well, same thing I do every day, Binky. Try to take over the world. No, yeah, it's just the same video every day, new figures.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I like that one. That what is it? 24 Days of Christmas or whatever. I like that. Now, again, yeah, we'll see everybody through the week as I can. This week's going to be a busy week for me. Running around doing rehab and medicals and whatnot. So if I can make to your streams, I will. If not, I apologize in advance because that time of day you guys are streaming, I've got appointments. So thank you again for your support and have fun. Stay safe.
Good night, everybody.
Be good at it. So,
and that's the way it is.
Bye-bye.
Saturday, December 3rd, or Sunday, December 4th, 2022.
Yeah, wherever you want to be. All right. Night all.